Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drew B. Wilson. With more than 2 decades in sales, I've seen it, been through it, heard about it. Now I'm bringing it to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community. Because let's be honest, this is the greatest job on earth. Doesn't matter where you come from, what background, what personality type, you can carve out a pretty amazing life in sales. And today's guest, no stranger to the journey, I'd like to welcome Mr. Daren Fields. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Drew. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you being here. Very excited for this conversation, but I want to jump right in, man. I want to hear your crazy sales story.
Yeah. So crazy sales stories, boy, there's quite a few of them. So I think my publicist always has the 2 decades on there. I don't know why, but it's actually 4. So, the reality of it is I've been in a lot of, what. So, as far as crazy sales stories go, I think some of the biggest ones are the ones where it takes a lot of gumption, as they say, like walking up to and driving those moments where, you land the big deal. I think one of the biggest crazy stories was a situation where we were on the way out. We were behind, and we were losing Oracle, NetSuite actually. And I was working with Infor at the time. And you know how it is when you're in your tech selection, software selection, big league sales. There's always more than one, and the customer always tells you that the story, right? The reality of it is that I had a last shot, and I went to lunch with one of the kind of the project leads, and I said, listen, if you could have anything you wanted. I mean, you've been through all of these presentations, you've got all this stuff, and you're moving in this direction. What would be the one thing you could have, whether or not you think it's technologically possible? What would be the one thing that you want to have? And he looked at me and he goes, like, anything? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just curious. What would be the one thing? And he goes, I want a log optimizer. I said, what do you mean? He goes, we do this optimization process with logs. Now, Darren, you know the story, but for those of you in the background, you don't know. When you're in the logging business, you just get a bunch of trees without any branches on it. And you got to go from that to a finished product. And you have A grade, B grade, C grade, a whole thing. And so when you're looking at piles and miles of logs, you don't know what's in there. You just don't know until you get into it. And so he goes, I need an optimizer. I need a way that as these things come off the mill and off the processor, that I know what I've got, because we're in like we'll set a plan. We'll be 1 week in, and then 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it all goes to hell. And we just do this every month. So if you had a log optimizer, which I haven't seen one, it'd be great. And I said, well, I actually think I could probably get that. Let me work on something. Let me do this. Let me just capture a couple key things so I understand what it is, and I'll be back to you in 1 day. And I did. I came back to him with a log optimizer, and we won the deal. It was just that one thing, and it's always that thing in sales. You just got to find the real thing that nobody else knows. And so you got to be a great listener. You got to be this. You got to be that. You got to be trustworthy. You got a bunch of things, and we all have all kinds of methods. But that was one of the craziest ones. And I think I'm proud of myself, to be honest with you, because it was crazy. Because you're done, man. I mean, people spent 4 months. They're about to make a decision, and I disrupted it. I just went for it.
I love that story because there's so many industries like that exist. I have a buddy, Jesse. He runs a company for, they collect hay. Like, he's in the logistic business, and they run trucks, and they collect hay bales and all this stuff. And he was telling me, he's like, listen, man, we built a software to organize the hay bales, and now all of our drivers can just click, click, click. It's done. They're stress-free. We're stress-free. The things are being tracked. So it really did come back to, what is the one thing that if you could get organized or that you could have access to that would absolutely change the game for you? Just asking that question, I don't think enough people are doing it. And it doesn't matter what you're selling. If you're asking the right questions, they're going to tell you exactly what you need to close the deal. So, going through all the things that you've built, the Apex Advisory, like, how do you make sure that you're asking the right questions? And then how do you make sure the people that you're advising know how to ask the right questions?
Well, because question. So in Apex 8, the book, right, came out in July. We hit it in 2 ways. Number one, in the first chapter, we talk about the learning ladder and the way that adults operate, right? Unconscious competence, right? There's lots of people out there that are very good at their job. Then there's unconscious, uncompetence, which is, at the very bottom when you're a newbie. But the one that really resonates with a lot of people is conscious competence. And so the book goes on to break down and give salespeople conscious competence. In the first step, it's discovery. Now, in the era of AI, I mean, listen, Drew, you can do so much discovery in 45 minutes. It isn't even funny. And if you need help, everybody just email me. I'll teach you how to do it. So, you can do a ton of stuff, but you only get so many bullets. You've heard this before. You only have so many seconds to make an impression. So in discovery, it's not just, so what keeps you up at night? Shut up. What is it that you want to do, man, to make some money? Let's just quit BSing the crap out of each other and let's just get into it. What do you got to do to grow as a company or as a person or as an individual, whatever, as a group? And when you start off there, it's great because you can already do the discovery. I can run it right on you. I can run it right now. How much do they make a year? What are they doing? Blah, blah, blah. It's all out there now, man. It's not like the old days where you use discovery to find out about the person. You're way past that. And to kind of drive that home, when I start my meetings, here's what I do. I'm like, hey, Drew, good to see you. I've already checked on a couple of things. Glad you went to this. Glad you went to that. That's all cool. But listen, I know that we all want to talk about growth and what's going on. So as far as me, I'm Darren. You're going to get to know me over the next half hour. So let's just dive in. How does that sound? It sounds good. They'll freaking go. If they don't want to do that, you don't have a customer. You got somebody kicking tires and they're wasting your time. And so in the book, we talk about not wasting the discovery to get to that one problem. What we want to do in a discovery session is we want to go slow to go fast. We want to go, what's the one biggest problem? If you had to write a problem statement, now that I've done all this research, you've probably done a bunch of research on me. What is the one problem statement that you would load into AI right now that you would have it solve? And they'll give it to you like that. Well, my biggest problem is I've got a new law coming down the line about hay and hay bales, and they only want it to be 4 days old. Otherwise, it's just whatever it is. Okay, good. So that's the big thing. What else is going on? This is also what's going on. I've got that, and that leads me to this. And okay, good. Let's take this one thing at a time. We only got so much time. Tell me about what the solution would be. What would be the one solution? If I could design a solution for you, or if I could make something out of thin air, what do you think it would be? Well, I've been told this can't happen, but... And then guess what? All you got to do is hyper-personalize that problem. So in the AI era, you have the ultimate hyper-personalization machine, which is AI. So the way you sell with tech today is when they give you that dream, get into your vibe coders, get into Gamma. Whoa, what an amazing tool. Start getting into these really smart AI selling tools and draw it up for them. And then validate. This is the secret. You can do all this in 90 minutes. Validate it. That is right. Now, what we put together here on Gamma or what we drew up on Word document, I don't care, guys. Whatever you paint the picture as. Use it with AI, you'll blow their minds. But the bottom line is that, you check with the client. Is this, are we going in the right direction? Is this it, brother? That's it. Now, Drew, you may get to the point where you're like, I designed it. I got it. We don't do that. Let me point you to somebody that can.
Amen.
Or I do that and I've got it. Or, you know what? I can do half of this, which that's usually the story, and I can bring in a partner. And guess what happens? Instant trust. Why? Because you didn't try and shape them into a funnel to shove them into a product. And number two, you're only spending 90 minutes, so you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to do this. Yes, 10 years ago, you had to qualify your leads, and you don't want to waste time because it took you forever to do the mock-up. But you can do the mock-up so fast now, it's not even funny. Stop it. Learn how to do it. And now you go, I can't help you, but I can turn you over to somebody else. And then that goes your network and your orbit and everything. That is so fun when you learn how to harness that 90 minutes.
I love that. I was just doing a call for our mentorship group before this call. And I was telling them, I'm like, listen, if you guys are not leveraging AI and Canva's creator tool for making presentations and graphics, you are missing out. You can literally pick up your phone, create a voice note that's 3 to 5 minutes long of all the things that you need. Tell ChatGPT to create a slide deck presentation based on the bullets of your conversation. Go to Canva. Canva's AI will create an entire presentation for you. It'll give you 3 examples. You pick the one you like the best and you run with it. Less than 30 minutes, you can have an entire keynote presentation, a sales deck, all of these things. And as you said, it comes back to doing your research first, because the internet has all the answers that you need. And if they don't have the answers, then those are the questions that you're asking. You're not doing just the surface level stuff. You're digging into the nitty gritty. I think there's something to be said about people who are willing to be very transparent in that, yes, 100%, we have the solution for this. No, we have half a solution, and I'm confident that we can figure out the rest together when we start working on this project. Or, I don't have the answer. I do know the guy who does. Let me introduce you to him. So many people, like you said, are just trying to shove them into the product or service, and they're selling stuff to people knowing daggum well that it is not the answer to their problem. And I'm a big fan of like the network and creating relationships. And to me, the lifetime value of a customer comes from the ability to say, yeah, we got this, or nope, we don't. Here's the person who does, so that once they've got that, you can come back to me for the next part of this puzzle.
Yeah, that is it. I mean, that is it. And it's, in today's world, people ask me like, how does AI change sales? It changes everything. So that's just a hard statement for people to even start to comprehend. But what you just said is true. Me, I love Gamma. You love Canva. Just get into the game and start playing with it. Buy them both. I don't care. You make enough money, just do it. Stop it, please.
Absolutely,
but,
man.
But when you come back to those approaches and you really start to break down the transparency thing, there's a new thing on the horizon that all of the BD guys need to listen to, and all of the business development folks, the people that line up the ups for us, right? Is that AEO, answer engine optimization. Now, what I recognized a year ago was that people were starting to use a ChatGPT to look for products, consultants, like everything. So are you being found when AI answers, right? SEO is a different game, and that's still a game, but it's just not, it's not what it's
a little different. Yeah.
Right. So now when you go to AI, will AI find you? AI doesn't screen scrape. AI does not screen scrape. It can on certain cases, it can't, but it doesn't have the time to, it's expensive. That's a very expensive way to do it. So there's secret codes. There's all kinds of things in websites that you can put that'll actually talk AI to AI, and AI goes, boom, I want that one. Yeah, this is Drew's podcast. This is the one you should watch. So that opens up a whole Pandora's box for us sales guys, meaning that we need to understand how to be transparent, because we will get exposed. If you go into a deal and you think you're going to buffalo somebody, good luck to you, because I'm out there teaching my executives how to do this so that they can control the entire experience, right? So the reality of it is when we get into tech is something someone's probably going to use AI to find out about. So if you don't know how to do it, Drew, you might as well just cop to it, own it, show some vulnerability, bring your genuine self. And oh, by the way, they can feel that you're being honest. And now, like you said, you got that customer for life. Whether they buy from you or not, they're part of your network, and you can call them up a year later and go, hey, I know you went with so-and-so, but I wanted to ask you how to go. It was shit. What? Because it's you and that person have a relationship. They just didn't buy your product. So that's the thing. I think AI is going to make everybody be a lot more truthful. Otherwise, you're just going to get exposed.
Yeah, there's 2 things I want to pull from there. I'm also with you in that I started noticing the trend of like anytime I'd go to Google and search something, it would just give me like an AI summary of everything that I was looking for. Like, yeah, that told me like SEO and keyword optimization, while still important, is not as important as having quotable, knowledgeable wisdom that you're sharing, so that when it pulls it, it wants to pull it from you and give you the recognition for what was said. Like AI knows, and it's going to go and look for the one that is most likely to fit the individual based on their previous user experience. And so there's like a whole thing of conversation we could go down that route. But I think the other piece,
we could do a whole show.
We for sure could. And at some point, maybe we come back and do a round 2 on just that conversation. But there's something you said there that I personally have experienced, and I want to share it with the listener because I would love your perspective on it. But you had mentioned like the ability to refer people business. I had one client that we had an amazing conversation. Everything looked good. When we finally got down to the logistics and the nitty gritty of it, it just didn't make sense to work together. At the end of the day, I just had to be honest with him and say, listen, man, with all the things you're trying to do, I don't think I'm your guy. Here's someone that will be able to do it for you. Like, by all means, I don't take offense to it. I'm grateful for the opportunity, but I want to make sure you get what you're looking for. That gentleman, while we had never did business personally, he sent me $500,000 in referrals just because he appreciated how honest I was. And I think there's not enough of that recognition for salespeople because, as you mentioned, they're just trying to shove them in the box. But the ability to do right by the customer first is always going to lead you to being in a better place. What do you think about that?
I agree 1,000%. I mean, I think the long game, the mid game, and the short game. So I'm a motorsports guy, right? And so I understand very well, everybody, the 10 seconds on the Sunday, or the 10 tenths of a second you want out of a car on a Sunday. But, don't forget about the Friday practice and the Saturday practice, because there's a lot to benefit from going the long game as well. Now, I will say this, Drew. This came up yesterday in another podcast, and it was talking about the sales managers, and it was talking about that whole shoving them in the funnel, right? It's coming from the sales managers. And guys, I understand it. I'm now on my own. I'm my own guy. But when I worked in the W-2 job, I know what it's like. And there's good leaders and bad leaders. And I think what I would say to all the sales folks listening and the sales managers is, what AI is going to give you in this day and age, and what Apex 8 will allow you to kind of tap into, is the fact that you have autonomy. AI gives a ton of autonomy now to you as a business, to you as an operator, even the sales managers, even the sales execs. Because if there's a gap in your knowledge about a product, about a method, about a this, about a that, you can fill that gap in 14 seconds, Drew? And the point is that you now start to get that feeling, that superhero feeling. It happens. I've seen it happen. Once you start using AI, you'll start to feel like you're invincible. You'll get shot with a bullet one day and you'll go, oh, I guess I'm not. But until then, you'll run with it as far as autonomy. You have the ability to do a lot more than you ever could before. You do not need to rely on the corporation as much as you did, is the point. So my advice to everybody here is just start figuring out your orbit. What is your orbit? Stop thinking your individual self. Stop thinking about your quota. I know it's important. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, go to work every day thinking about your quota. That's fine. But you think about your orbit. And your orbit's going to be like, we're working with a motorsports track. Their attendance is down. They need help. I'm bringing in 2 other companies to help. That's my orbit. But they all love motorsports. They all do it. We're going to go talk to some motorsports people, but it's really all about entertainment. There's some entertainment. It's all an orbit. And we have 1,000 times better chance together than we do apart. And so, when you realize that your customers, everybody says, oh, well, make the customer your partner. Okay, go ahead. But really what happened there is that you prove your value as a vendor and he referred you. That's the difference. If you guys are partners, hold on, just wait for a second. Number one, nobody's buying that story. Nobody wants to hear it anymore. Number two, stop it. Be honest. Let's just call it what it is. I make money. You make money. I make money. You're going to get a promotion. What is it that you want? What is it that I want? That's part of the face-to-face discovery. I want to get this freaking project done so I can get it on my resume. I've had people say that to me, Drew. If you would ask my sales manager, you would ask anybody that, well, he wants to, oh, shut up. It's everybody's got a thing that makes them, that one thing that makes them drive forward. And you got to let your salespeople find it. Sales manager, let your people find the autonomy, establish the autonomy, both between the client, yes, they are a client, and you, the vendor who provides a service. If you're a fit, great. If you're not, get out. If more than likely, it's going to go to your orbit, and your orbit's going to thrive, and your orbit will take care of you. And stop worrying about the quota and start worrying about if everybody's winning, because if everybody's winning, the quota will come. And it's a hard thing to teach. It's hard, but man, that's why I wrote the book. It's like, enough, guys, enough. You keep asking me to write the book. I wrote the book. Now go read it. please.
Yeah, it's, being someone that was a top sales guy in an organization for about 3 or 4 years, then getting promoted to the leadership level. There are certain people that are great salespeople that should not be leaders. That, like, I've seen that a number of times in companies I've worked with over the years, but there are some that can successfully make the transition. And what's really cool about AI now is that you can utilize it for training, right? Maybe you were a top sales guy and some of the stuff you worked at really well, but now you've got to transition into teaching other people how to do it. Writing the book is a fantastic way. Using AI to go in and say, hey, here's all the things that I do. Tell me what I'm missing from this so that I can train the guys on my team. AI is smart. It'll teach you. It'll go and source all of these books and all these things that exist so that you can learn from the people who have already done it. And Darren, that's why we write the books, right? That's why we put all of our wisdom and knowledge down on paper, because we've got 4 decades of experience that we don't have 40 years to teach this person. So we've got to summarize it. We've got to break it down into something that's easy to digest. And so, man, I'm sure we could probably nerd out on this stuff for like several hours, because you're like me. We just love figuring stuff out and then creating a system and a process to make it faster. So how do we come find you, follow you, check out more of your content? Is this your first book that you've written?
This is my first book.
Congratulations, man. That's an amazing accomplishment. Yeah. I'm sure it's the first of many. So how do we come find you, find the book, and check out more of your content, brother?
Well, the book, apex8book.com, right? So that's really easy, apex8book.com. The main thing I do every day is apex8advisory.com, right? So if you go by to apex8advisory.com, that's kind of the top, and then everything else is in between. So I do keynote speaking and things like that. So between A and Z, you'll find me. But come by, and I would even say this, for your guys, if you get a hold of me at darenfields.com, because they're watching your show, Call the Damn Leads, I'll send you an ebook copy. All of the audience, I'll give it to you guys. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to send it to you, and I'd love to hear after how it went, because I love it. And that's probably what I'm enjoying the most right now, Drew, is people calling me up and going, now I got a question. What the hell do you mean about rehearsal? Why would I spend that much time rehearsing a demo? You're crazy. I'm like, well, listen, I sold 22 mega $1 million deals for a company that nobody knew and still doesn't know today. And I beat Oracle, SAP, and the giants with it. So just read it and be quiet, whatever, So that's how they can find me. I'd love to talk. I love to talk sales. And yeah, we should probably do another show, my friend.
I love it. And what an amazing gift. Thank you for that offer. I will definitely make sure all the info is down there in the show notes so people can find you, follow you, reach out to you. I'm sure we've just barely scratched the surface of all the amazing different things that you could help someone with or show them a way. So thank you again for the time here, man. It's meant a lot.
Yeah, same here. Thanks for having me on. Love it. Love the energy.
Love it. Well, listen, you guys know what to do. If you enjoyed the show, share it on social media, tell people about it. Send it to a friend that you know who sucks at using AI to simplify things in their life. Let them know that you care. Like, there's ways to do this that they don't have to keep fumbling around. Subscribe, leave a review, do all the things that help us get in front of more people like you who understand, who want to grow, and who are willing to actually take action on the things that they've learned here for today. Because listen, information is useless without action. When you actually apply the knowledge that you've gained today, you're going to see a major increase in your productivity, your sales, your commissions, and in general, your life is going to get better, because the more you do the things that you learn, the more room you have to learn more things to do. So go out there, share the show, go follow Darren, make sure you get a free copy of his ebook. And as always, if you have an amazing story, if you've been through some shit in your sales career that you know could bring value to other sales professionals and entrepreneurs, I'd love to have you on the show. Head over to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Send us your details. Get on the calendar. Let's put your story out there, because at the end of the day, we can all learn something from someone, and you could be that next person. So from here, listen, you guys know what to do. Go pick up the phone. Call the damn leads. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.